Canucks open the new year with a 4-3 shootout loss to Seattle. We're breaking it down now on Rink Wide Vancouver. Welcome inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Jeff. He is Earth. The new year starts like the old one finished so often with a home ice loss for the Vancouver Canucks, but some storylines, and they battled back not once but twice. A nasty finish to the shootout. Matty Beniers, where did you learn that move? So the Canucks get a point. They're 31st in the National Hockey League. Points at this point don't do them an awful lot of good, but they will try to take the positives, and quick turnaround as they got the Boston Bruins in town on the Saturday night. Rink Wide brought to you in part by Bet365. Linus Carlson, have yourself a day, get a contract, and score the tying goal early in the third period, doing what he does, front of the net, finding loose pucks, cashing them in. Good on him, and he's going to be doing it for a few more years with the healthy Rays in the National Hockey League. So not the start the Canucks were looking for. They fall behind 1-0, and then it's 2-0 early in the second period, and you kind of thought this one might get away. So you do have to give them a little bit of credit for sticking with it, and Kiefer Sherwood adds to his team leading total. How many more he's going to score as a Vancouver Canuck, we just don't know, with his name again surfacing in trade rumors as the calendar changes here. Jake DeBrusk finally has himself the kind of night that he's been looking for all season long, and we'll hear more about him. But 4-3 in a shootout. Canucks don't score in the shootout. Liam Ogren, come on! What are you doing? Okay, he's not going to score every time out, but just the one goal, as there was just the one goal the other night in Seattle. These teams swapped shootout victories on the road this week. What do we make of tonight's performance?
Oh, these two teams don't play an entertaining brand of hockey when they play each other. They might when they play other teams, but when these two teams meet, there is no I-5 rivalry or whatever it is. No. There is no heat, but, I mean, we did get 6 goals all the way to a shootout. That should have been the bet. We'll get to the bet a little bit later on, like you mentioned. But, yeah, I mean, look, I think right out of the gate, the hard skate yesterday for the Canucks at practice, and then you go into this one, Seattle playing on the second of back-to-backs, maybe a little bit of tired legs there in that third period. Mounting the comeback was obviously good for the Vancouver Canucks. I like Linus Carlson. I always have liked Linus Carlson. 17 points in 37 games this season for a guy that just now signed a $4.5 million contract, so good for him. Jake DeBrusk, I think we're probably going to have to start there just because you look at him and everything that he's gone through, the healthy scratch, the coming back, the accepting the responsibility for the healthy scratch. Was the goal even strength, or was it
on the power
play?
No, I mean, for whatever reason, he doesn't score 5-on-5 this season.
He did score.
But he did score on the doorstep. A great pass from Brock Besser, and we know the struggles of Brock, and we'll talk more about him as well. But he had a great setup to Max Sasson through the slot, dare I say, rink wide in the first period, and Max unable to pull the trigger, but Brock did get a point, and those have been tough to come by for him on the goal that made it a one-goal game late in the second period, and it kind of gave you a thought that, all right, like the Canucks are back in this thing. If they go to the locker room after 2, down 2, just the way things have gone for this hockey club, I'm not sure I would have had a ton of confidence in a huge third-period comeback, but they got the one before the break, and then they only needed the one. They got it from Linus Carlson, as we said, his 10th of the year at 6:15 in the third period. That tied the game, and then nothing doing. There was a goal in overtime, but it didn't count. Vince Dunn, who pulls the trigger, but Berkeley Catton, he interfered with Elias Pettersson. He did. Pettersson trying to get across to defend the shot by Vince Dunn, and didn't see Catton coming, not blindside in the sense of a headshot. He just, Pettersson didn't see him coming, knocked him down. Referee right away said, nope, no goal, play on. And so the Canucks had a power play. They were 2 for 2 to that point. They haven't scored 3 power play goals in a game all season long, so I thought we might see a first for the Vancouver Canucks. Alas, we did not. Jake DeBrusk got a puck to the goal line. Joey DeCord down doing Snow Angels. I don't think it ever went in.
No.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
And that's as close as the Canucks came. So Couldn't convert on the 4-on-3 power play. A lot of passing of the puck, not a ton of shots on goal. In fact, the Canucks credited with 4 shots in overtime, but Phil Hronek kept faking the big slap shot. You got Petey over there on the flank and waiting for the one-timer, and that didn't come. And so, a chance for the Canucks. They only have themselves to blame. I mean, they had the golden opportunity to cash this one in on the power play in overtime, and they couldn't get it done.
And the interesting thing is you and I sat here and kind of just looked at each other, and you're like, it would be awesome to see Philip Hronek just absolutely lean into one. We all know how hard this guy can shoot the puck, and from that close, all he has to do is hit the net. And, Joey Dakota might get out of the way. The guy shoots the puck so hard, but alas, we didn't get to see it. I think there was just too many. Just they tried to find the perfect play too many times, and that's kind of been the season of the power play for the Vancouver Canucks. Sometimes it's too pretty, and sometimes they just pass it way too much, and this was a chance for them to, get that win on home ice, and unfortunately they didn't.
It's funny you said no I-5-volry or whatever we're going to call it. It is a shame. Like, this is the first game of Christmas. It's still the holiday break. People are festive and whatnot. That building was not alive, and part of it is just aesthetically, it was not a pretty hockey game. Both of these teams. I think Jordan Eberle came into the game. He's their leading scorer with 26 points, and PD leads the Canucks with 23. Like, these are not teams that rack up the goals, high-flying, trading chances, and so it sort of was what we anticipated. Although I will say this, that the Canucks are the first team to score 3 against the Kraken in Seattle's last 7 games. Like, they have just gone into lockdown mode here. They're 6-0-1 in their last 7 games, and as a result, that is the kind of run that it takes to climb through the standings, and they are above the playoff bar now.
Yep.
Like, Buffalo's rattled off 10 in a row over in the East, and all that's done is get them to a wild card spot. Like, that's how crazy things are. And so if you are one of those people that still believes that half a season to go, hey, it could happen for the Vancouver Canucks, then they've got to put together a run of 6-0-1 or, dare I say, 10 in a row like the Sabres are doing. And that just gets you into a wild card position. Mm-hmm. And the Canucks have already dug themselves a deeper hole than either the Sabres or the Kraken. So that just a little perspective for where this hockey club is. 16-20-4, so it's their 4th loss beyond regulation time. First loss in a shootout. They were 4-0 in the shootout coming in. They're now 4-1 in the shootout. They're 2-3 in games that have been settled in 3-on-3 overtime, or 4-on-3, as this one would have been. Alas, they didn't get the goal they were looking for. So the Canucks, 16-20-4, 36 points in 40 games. They hit the halfway mark tomorrow night, Irf. We'll do a little midterm report card stuff on the program on Saturday. But the home record, again, is it's abysmal, and it doesn't change on a night like tonight. 4-12-2. That is 4 wins in 18 games at Rogers Arena.
I'm fully on board with tank as much as you want and do things and don't win games but lose them on the road.
I know.
You give your fans something to cheer about on home ice. It's been bad. You mentioned 4 times this season fans from Rogers Arena have gone away happy with watching the Vancouver Canucks win a hockey game. And it's not going to get any easier. You got the Bruins in town tomorrow night. Then you go on a run where you're obviously away from Rogers Arena. But we talked about this a lot on different shows. There are 2 8-game homestands coming up. 16 hocky games.
One of them's later this month. Once they get back off this 6-game road trip, 8 in a row. Don't even want to think about that. What I do want to think about is Super Chats, and I want to channel your energy. We'll continue to talk about this. There's lots of things I want to get to. But would love to get your take, your thoughts on this hockey game, the state of this hockey club as it reaches the midway mark on Saturday. Bring it with a Super Chat, our charity partner again this season, the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. Spatzilli, he's got an Ironman streak going now here on the program. Says, didn't watch a second of the game. Rink Wide is my sport now. I like this one from Kevy Metal, and I like the name.
Kevy Metal. Nice.
Hronek to EP40. EP40 to Hronek. Hronek to EP40. Back to Hronek, back to EP40. Back to Hronek. Shoots 5 feet wide. Yeah, I mean, that kind of is a summation of the Canucks power play there in overtime. DeBrusk and Besser were on the ice, but it was a lot of interchange between 40 and 17 and back and forth. And I'm kind of with you. Like, there were a couple times there where Hronek looked like 15 feet out directly in front of the net. Like, just put it on a tee for the guy and hammer away. Alas, we didn't get to see that one either. So,
and the thing is about that, and I know a lot of people in the chat are talking about, well, that's just what the Quinn Hughes effect was. Everyone was just standing around waiting for Quinn Hughes, and it's right. It's 100% right, because you just goes to show you with that super chat, they don't have anyone that's going to go get it. They don't have anyone that is going to go and, take the game, by its horns and just go and try and get that shot or try and end the game or have a closer, so to speak. And they're looking to everyone except each other from within. Ain't nobody going to save you. The people that are going to save you are on the ice. And unfortunately for them, they didn't get it done.
I see they have audited the shots already, taken one away from the Canucks in overtime. So shots were 3-3 in overtime on the night, 28-23. Seattle outshoots the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the Kraken did have a couple of opportunities. Matty Beniers with a glorious look and his own rebound early in overtime. And then Eli Tolvanen, who's been on a tear here and is the second leading scorer. He was named to Finland's team for the Olympics. Had a relatively quiet night, but he had a look in overtime as well. So did Berkeley Catton, who fired it wide. I like that call by Lane Lambert, though. Berkeley Catton has never scored an NHL goal. Young kid, finding his way in the best league in the world. The coach has trust that he puts him out there in overtime. Now, he took a penalty, so that's not ideal, but it didn't blow up in his face, and his team ends up winning. But I like the fact that Lane Lambert's willing to roll the dice on a young guy and give him an opportunity.
Lane Lambert was absolutely incensed at that overtime call.
But they're now at a point
where
above the playoff bar.
He kind of can be. Yeah.
He's probably can relax and, easier flight home. Because they do get the bonus point ultimately. But he was livid. And it was one of those bang-bang calls. I still think the refs got it right.
Yeah.
So it was there for the Canucks, and they didn't take it. Let's get to the 3 stars of this hockey game. 3 stars on Rink Wide are brought to you by Greta Bar YVR. And we told you on the last show, and we're going to tell you for the better part of a week now, we're taking the show on the road. January 10th, next Saturday, Canucks Army Watch Party, followed by a live Rink Wide with Vancouver at Toronto. So it's a 4 o'clock start. Should be a lot of fun. Love to see you down there. Be part of our live on location audience. You can watch the game and then stick around for Rink Wide and see everything that goes on with the big program here. Of course, Greta will have all of its game day specials, food and drink, all the arcade games there as well. To reserve your spot, jot down this number. Text Greta at 604-256-4022. Again, 604-256-4022 to reserve a table. Greta Bar, the place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. 3 stars in the building. A little surprised at this. Yes, Matty Beniers' shootout move put him in consideration. He had a tough night, though. Just looking at the underlying numbers for the Seattle Kraken, and Matty Beniers and Jordan Eberle, the shot attempts at 5-on-5 were 30 to 6 in favor of the Canucks. So Beniers didn't do a whole lot during the game. He had the chance in overtime, but he does get the game-deciding goal in the shootout. So he was the first star, second star Jake DeBrusk, and the third star Ben Myers. And you might be saying, who is Ben Myers? Well, as you see our stars here.
Are we sure that's Ben Myers?
Jake DeBrusk, he was the first star. I know the Canucks lose, but the guy has a goal and 2 assists. He had 5 shots on 8 attempts. And remember, he was scratched against this Seattle team on Monday night. Mm-hmm. So I thought he played all right the other night against Philadelphia. But he's been waiting, and the Canucks have been waiting for him to have a night like that offensively. So Jake DeBrusk, a 3-point night. He's the first star. Your guess is as good as... Is that Tyler Myers? No, it's Ben Myers.
That is Ben
different
Myers.
Spelling of the last name. Ben Myers scored, parked on the doorstep, got away from Max Sasson late in the second period, made it 3-1, his third goal of the season. He had 8 shots on goal in this hockey game. His career high prior to tonight was 4. Dude went out and doubled his career best for shots on goal. So Ben Myers, in like 13 minutes of ice time, manages 8 shots on goal, and he scores. And there is Phil Hronek. And why do we have Philip Hronek as one of the stars? the numbers tell you. I mean, he led the Canucks in ice time, 27 minutes and 29 seconds. Picked up an assist. Logged a ton of time in overtime. The underlying in his favor, the shot attempts were 34-8 when Hronek was on the ice. So the Canucks absolutely dominated in puck possession and control. Doesn't lead to a victory, I get that. But I thought, again, another really solid night for Filip Hronek, so we made him one of the stars here. The 3 stars, Jake DeBrusk, Ben Myers, Filip Hronek. 3 stars are brought to you by Greta Bar YVR. Super chat from Free Petey. We have 4 really solid third lines, and then he says, rink wide, couple of clappy emojis. So, hey, we thank you for the super chat supporting the BC Mental Health Foundation. Yeah, look, this is the first night that the Canucks had to play without Connor Garland and Marco Rossi.
Yeah.
So, we heard a lot of people in our chats recently, like, why isn't Höglander playing? Why can't Ratu get in there? Well, guess what? Now, opportunity is knocking for those guys. I thought a relatively quiet night for Ratu. He centered a line with Höglander and Liam Öhgren. And Höglander had his moments, I suppose. Still goose eggs across the board. 7 games now, his return, and doesn't have a single point. He had 6 shot attempts and he had 3 hits. So, but 6 attempts, he had 1 shot on goal, and I didn't think looked all that dangerous. So, at some point, something's got to give. Like, they rewarded Linus Carlson because Linus Carlson's gone out and earned his contract extension. Höglander got his deal already. He's a $3 million player, and there's no bottom line with this guy.
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing is he was okay. He wasn't great, but it's going to take a little bit of time. I mean, he's so used to being, it's like a yo-yo. You're up, you're down, you're practicing, you're on the ice early for practice because you have to be, because you don't get any touches in the game because you don't play. And then when he gets in the game, doesn't play much, and he's not making the most of his opportunities when he's on the ice. So I think that's where the frustrating part comes from the coaching staff. And for him, it's like, well, what do you want me to do? You're not playing me here. So there's a lot going on with Nils Höglander right now and the Vancouver Canucks. Unfortunately for him, this is just the way it's going to be until he can go out and, change it himself. Whether that's goal, fight, a big hit, or momentum-changing play. I'm just not entirely sure what the plan right now is for Höglander.
I guess, if the offense isn't there, I want to see him get back to the guy that broke into the National Hockey League, and this was his 300th game in the NHL. So he's now logged 300 NHL games. Like, you're a veteran at that point. But early on in his career, when he was an absolute pain in the ass to play against and drew the ire of opponents almost every night out, he was around the net and hacking and whacking at guys and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't see a ton of that in his game. And so, yeah, I'm sure it's been difficult to play a game and then sit, but certainly sounds like Rossi could be out for a while. I know Adam Foote said they would be reevaluated in a week. I'm sure they will be. I don't know that means no, but I don't know that means they get back in a week. And Connor Garland, not totally certain. I know the coach felt that he was slew-footed the other night against Philadelphia, unpenalized, and so I'm not sure. And we know that Garland's been battling through something, and so I just don't know. Whatever the case, I do know that Höglander and Ratu should now get a run of games. If Höglander comes out of the lineup for Archdeep Baines, then I think all bets are off. So I'm not anticipating that happening. If everybody got through healthy, I would expect that it would be the same 12 forwards against the Boston Bruins on Saturday, but Baines is up. He was there at the morning skate, and he would be an option, I suppose. But boy, if they were to sit Höglander down yet again, you'd have to wonder about his lot here in Vancouver, and if the clock is ticking, and it may already be.
I think it is, yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. And I'm not picking on Nils Höglander. It just happened to be his 300th game. I wanted to mention that. Nice milestone for the guy, but at some point,
Jeffy's a 24-goal scorer in the National Hockey League. He was. He somehow did it.
It's on his resume. You're right. Nobody can take it away, but most recently an 8-goal scorer, and now a no-goal scorer.
It's true.
And so need to see just a sign of something that the offense is there. So, the way the Canucks lined up in this hockey game, Max Sasson got a promotion. Linus Carlson got a promotion with the 2 injured guys. Carlson playing with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk, and that line certainly had its moments. And we talked about Carlson good time to get into him and this news of the day. Strange time, like 2 hours before a game, late on a Friday afternoon. I mean, whatever. I can't imagine they
like making news on Friday afternoons.
I know, but I can't imagine the two sides were grinding out all afternoon to get this deal done. Whatever the case, Linus Carlson, 2 years, $2.25 million per, so total of $4.5 million bucks. He's up to 10 goals now. He has tied Drew O'Connor for second. He's 7 goals behind the team lead now because Kiefer Sherwood also scored in this hockey game. But for Linus Carlson, this goal sort of encapsulated what he does. He's got the good hands, in tight, puck was there, heroic shot, a rebound, and he got Joey Decord to open up and was able to slip at 5-hole, and that tied the game at 3. I'll say this. I was a little surprised with the dollar figure. We had talked on one of the shows here since Christmas about, should they be looking at getting a contract? So maybe the front office was watching Rink Wide. Who knows? But I'm glad for him. I'm genuinely. This is a guy that absolutely was a baller for Abbotsford last year on that run to the Calder Cup, and has worked his way and proven that he can be an NHLer, that he can produce in the National Hockey League, up to double digits now. As we said, second on this team. So I'm happy for him to get some security. It's a nice raise. It's a little more than I expected. Yeah. Max Sasson got $1 million a year on his. I thought Carlson's been a little more productive. I thought maybe $1.5 million. So, in the grand scheme, it's not an outrageous sum. And as the cap goes up, the Canucks can live with $2.25 million bucks. But the timing's a little strange. Like, to me, there was no urgency to get this thing done and to negotiate with his agent at the sort of time that he's red hot, and he's just like, if you wait 2 weeks, maybe his play drops off or his production drops off a little bit. The timing seemed a little strange, but I do wonder, and this is my theory on this one, that the Canucks know at some point, sooner rather than later, Kiefer Sherwood's going to get dealt. If all goes well, at some point, Evander Kane's going to get dealt.
Yep.
Somebody is going to have to absorb those minutes. Mm-hmm. And if they think that it's going to be Linus Carlson, and if he gets power play time, and if he continues to score, if he plays top 6 minutes and continues to score and pushes 20 goals, well, then, his agent certainly would have some leverage. And so maybe they thought, let's get this thing done sooner rather than later. Whatever the case, it is a done deal. So congratulations to Linus Carlson, 2 years at $2.25 million bucks per, and he goes out and celebrates by scoring his 10th of the season.
I like the player a lot. I really started to enjoy his game while you and I were doing all those AHL games for the Calder Cup when they won, and came on as a player there. Late bloomer. He's 26 years old. Some guys, they don't find it early in their careers. They got to go grind in the jungle down there, and then eventually you are going to get rewarded. And now it's proven that he just got rewarded. Guy's not going to have to worry about going to the minors for the next couple of years. He's getting over $4 million to play here for the Vancouver Canucks. And I agree with you. At some point, Kiefer Sherwood is going to be moved. Maybe they do move Evander Kane. Maybe someone else up there in that forward group does get moved as well. And someone's going to need a play. And they've got a guy now that they know that they can rely on night in and night out. You're going to get maximum effort now. He doesn't play a lot all of the time, but we're talking about guys going and making the most of their minutes. Niels Höglander, Aatu Räty, Archie Baines when he gets in, Max Sasson. Like, these guys are all the similar ilk. Linus Carlson, with this contract now, he's a little bit above them.
Yep.
So they're going to expect things from him now, game in and game out.
I also think they're so into rebuilding this group now and culture and whatnot. It is a reward for exactly what you want from a youngish player to, not pout when you're down in the minors, to go out there and just work your ass off there, have success, get your opportunity, and when you get your opportunity here, to continue to battle. And we knew early on that, Tocchet, like his wall work, Tocchet always talked about winning battles, and so that was sort of the foundation of his game at the NHL level. Now the offense has come along here, and I think it is a sign to other guys in the organization that, this is what happens when you continue to work hard, low maintenance. Coaches like this guy. Teammates seem to like him too. And, he gets his deal done. So congratulations to Linus Carlson. Good day for him and his family.
And also, you got to find someone at some point to play with 40. Like that can play with him and be consistent with him night in and night out. And the Jake DeBrusk experiment, it has worked. This season, hasn't worked too well. Brock Besser experiment, we haven't even got to him yet.
No.
Last season, it was great. The season before, it was good. This season, not so much. Can Linus Carlson be a guy that, elevates Elias Pettersson?
14 minutes and 31 seconds for Linus Carlson, which is considerably more than his season average. And in fact, when you look at all the forwards in this hockey game tonight, getting a chance to play up higher with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk, it shows. He was 4th among forwards in 5-on-5 ice time. So, again, I would assume that DeBrusk was going. Carlson gets his goal. Pettersson had a point in this hockey game. I would think that you would see that line again on Saturday night against the Boston Bruins. All right, speaking of that line and some of the component parts, why don't I get to our stat that stands out?
Okay.
Always brought to you, delivered by Uber Eats. And Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long. Exclusive game day deals on the app. Every time the Canucks are playing at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. And the stats tell a story in this one. It has been a struggle for Jake DeBrusk. Boy, has it ever. You can see it there on the screen if you're watching the live stream. This was Jake DeBrusk's first multi-point game of the season. Game number 40 for the Canucks. He was a scratch the other night, so game 39 for Jake. And it has taken him until the new year to have a multiple-point game, and ultimately he has a goal and 2 helpers, so it's a 3-pointer for Jake DeBrusk. But, boy, to me, that stat pretty much tells you the story of Jake DeBrusk's season.
And what do we know about Jake DeBrusk as a hockey player?
He's streaky.
There we go. So maybe this is, and he gets the faces of familiar faces tomorrow night against the Boston Bruins. But yeah, that stat in itself is basically what this season's been for Jake DeBrusk. Just a lot of inconsistency all around. If you're only getting points on the power play, it's going to be hard to get multiple points every single game. That's where, his bread and butter is right now in goals. But you hope that maybe this can propel him to bigger and better things moving forward here.
So we'll see. You're right, he is streaky. Could the worm turn? With him, yes. It wouldn't surprise me. His former team coming to town here. See if he can keep this thing going. We shall see. Because while Jake DeBrusk, had a big night, Brock Besser did not. Now, he did have the assist. And we said it was a beautiful pass to DeBrusk late in the second period on the doorstep. Bang, bang play. But that is Besser's first point in 9 games. The goal drought is now up to 15 for Brock. And is it 1 goal in 22 games? Yeah. And I guess this is my problem with Brock Besser is that, and it's not because, Jeff Patterson talked to him in the locker room, therefore things have to have changed. But I did talk to him yesterday, and one of the things we talked about, and I wrote about it at Canucks Army, was when Brock Besser is on and playing his game, he's a volume shooter. This is a guy that has 4, 5, 6 shots on goal. He said, yeah, I know. I'm not shooting the puck enough. I've had opportunities where, I've passed up shots. What are you doing, Brock? You're a 40-goal scorer in this league. You're struggling. Don't pass up shots. We saw Macklin celebrating with 17 shot attempts in that game right after Christmas. That's how you get out of a slump, and I'm not expecting Brock to have 17. Macklin's in a different tier, obviously. But Brock Besser, 1 shot on goal in this hockey game.
And the craziest thing about that is if Brock's sitting there just looking around the dressing room and being like, okay, I'm the best winger on this team. I would have to be the best winger on this hockey team right now. And no one else is going. Vander's not going. Jake's not going. Connor Garland's not playing. It's up to me. And it's he mentioned to you that also, he's kind of lost his confidence a little bit. You gain your confidence by trying to shoot the puck more. I know he's going on the ice early and getting more pucks and touches and things like that, and that's great. Practice is great, but practice what you preach. You got to go in the game and do it as well. And it's tough to see. It really is. This team's getting younger. They got a little bit faster. Brock's saying the same. And you mentioned being a volume shooter. The one thing that he's elite at and obviously is being that 40-goal scorer is his shot. And if he's not doing that, then what's he doing to help this team?
Yeah, and when we touched on it earlier, like he's out there 4-on-3 on the power play in overtime.
Just looking to pass. I mean, he made a great pass to Jake DeBrusk on that power play goal. Like, absolutely.
Right. But like,
you're
if you're just working the one side of the ice and it's Petey back to Hronek, like, mix it up a little. Throw it over to Brock and let him have a go. Whatever the case, the slump there continues, and it's now 6 shots on goal in his last 6 games. So it's going to be difficult for him to get out of it unless he starts shooting the puck just a little bit more. We're going to hear from Jake DeBrusk here momentarily. Super chat from Casey Shuffle. Has Carlson arrived, or is he Joshua/Hoglander 2.0? And I guess that's the concern. Now the Canucks, with this contract, are betting on him, continuing to do what he does. And Dakota Joshua got his after an 18-goal season, and then obviously the cancer diagnosis that slowed him down, and just wasn't the same player last year. And then the Canucks felt that was an expendable contract. They wanted to clear some space, so they moved him along, and I see he's injured again in Toronto. It's unfortunate for him. But Hoglander earned himself a 3-year deal, $3 million a season. Again, not living up to it. It's only 8 games. I get that. I'm not writing him off here, but again, need to see a little bit more here. So, yeah, there was a cautionary tales that these guys get their contracts and then don't live up to them with Carlson. Again, at 2.25 with the cap going up, like, I don't think that's a contract that's going to come back to haunt the Canucks in any way.
No.
So I'm going to give this guy a chance. I'm certainly going to say that I think the Canucks can extract some value from a $2.25 million contract for a 26-year-old that, maybe he's a little bit of a late bloomer, but he looks like he is finding his stride and gaining some traction at the NHL level now. So I'm kind of curious to see where in a season that hasn't had many good news stories, Linus Carlson absolutely is one of them for the Vancouver Canucks.
And I think you have to look at it this way. I don't think people expect out of Linus Carlson what they did out of Dakota Joshua after he signed that contract. I think that when you look at the two players and the way that their careers are going, Dakota Joshua had an insane year, and he got that. And then everyone's like, oh, he's a power forward. He is a 20-goal scorer. He is this player. We look at Linus Carlson, and what we see is what we get. He is that player. So if he can be a guy that gets you maybe 20 goals a year, maybe, 10 to 15, I think they'd be happy with that at that $2.5 million.
All right. Again, we're going to hear from Jake DeBrusk in a sec. Super chat from, do we have a name, Jacob?
No, their name is just new user.
No. Welcome, new user. It says, boys, that was painful to watch. I hope he's talking about the game and not Rink Wide.
Oh.
We already said, yes, not a classic by any stretch. Cover your ears if you don't want to hear this. They still have to play 2 more times, the Canucks and the Kraken. They're not done. And they're only halfway through the season series. Bet on overtime. That's my advice. The next time that they play after going to the shootout here, 2 games in a row. All right, this segment of Rink Wide is brought to you by the Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles. Offers the best of both worlds. You can drive up to 72 kilometers on battery alone. That's enough to get you from downtown to the rink to the grocery store and then home to recharge. It seamlessly transitions from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. No sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low, wide exterior and sophisticated interior. And it's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use. Now you can lease a 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months with $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. And we have some of Earth's fans outside of the
more pictures. Someone else
Pacific
did
Toyota dealer studios here in the Wall Center in downtown Vancouver. Although these ones have Kraken jerseys on.
What? Yes, they do.
They're giving us the high five, but
and the FU too.
I guess hey, they get the last laugh. Their team won, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right, let's hear from Jake DeBrusk.
Okay.
Again, this is a guy that when I talked to him earlier in the week was down, knew that he was having to take his lumps as a healthy scratch going into Seattle. But he bounces back in a big way here with his first multi-point night of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was one of our better third periods all season. Probably deserved more. Felt like they were on their heels, and obviously they were playing it back-to-back. So we just wanted to get the puck north. But, we had our looks. We had, power play in overtime. It was kind of actually like the game against Seattle, in Seattle, or it was just the other way around. But I thought that, we deserved, at least obviously the point. But, that's all I'd say.
How nice is it for you to chip in on the scoreboard, have a night like that, especially after not playing in that game in Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than a win, but no, it was a great pass by Brock on the goal, and then the other two was, give credit to Carly and Woody, but yeah, we didn't win, so I think that everyone likes to judge people on points. It's easy to say that when you have a couple points in a game, but we lost.
How have you felt about your game the last two, though?
I don't know. I mean, we just try to build, try to get back, to little things, kind of is what I was saying. You just try to stick to your ABCs, you try to stay as focused as possible. Honestly, half of it with me is my own head. So I just need to, continue this. Obviously, need more, though.
I know you guys didn't get the power play goal in overtime, but what did you like about the power play scoring twice?
Yeah, I mean, both plays were kind of, one was off a face-off and the other one was kind of a broken play. But, I thought that that's what happens when you go in the right areas. We got possession of it, then you go position, and nice to see some guys, chip in. But, that one at the end we got to have, and that's, my responsibility. I had at the net front again, so,
What can you build off heading into tomorrow's game?
Yeah, just our third period. I thought that we played well. All four lines are rolling. I liked our shift changes today. I thought the guys were changing in the O zone, given it makes it harder on the other team to change us. And usually try to do that in the second period, but in the third period I thought that we were rolling. And, they kind of locked it down. Obviously they didn't have their legs, but, we got to find a way to just get that extra one. But we did enough to get the point and gave ourselves a chance.
When you have a third period like the one you did tonight, is it helpful to go right back at it tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's probably what we're going to be focusing on, if I had to guess. But, there's obviously things that there's some breakdowns and some plays, obviously, that led to, us not getting the win, too. So I'm sure there's good and bad, but at this point, I think it's moving in the right direction. It's easy to say that, but like you said, there's another test tomorrow up against Boston.
All right, there you go, Jake DeBrusk. It's funny because the Canucks scored the only goal of the third period, and he's not wrong that they had possession of the puck a lot in the third. They only had 3 shots on goal.
Yeah.
They actually got outshot 6-3 in the third, so didn't do a lot in the way of putting pucks on the net. They had the puck a fair bit, and it felt like the Canucks were sort of pushing, but ultimately on the shot clock, that is not reflected. And we talked about the fact they got outshot 28-24 on the night. Jake also talked about shift changes and talked about being able to change in the offensive zone. We have to address the Seattle first goal. Cale Fleury's first of the season, his first in 6 years. It comes at the end of a 2-minute and 15-second shift for Zeev Buum and a 2-minute and 18-second shift for Tom Belander. And if you watch, and we're showing on the live stream, if you get a chance to watch the goal before the Fleury shot, like the whole sequence that leads to it, Belander just gassed. I mean, 2 minutes,
both of them are.
Yeah. He's in the corner, and he's just basically retreats to the front of the net, but then he ends up screening Thatcher Demko. So young guys learning on the job, I suppose, but hopefully learning some lessons there. The league is just too good. You can't stay out there and think that you're going to be able to defend successfully after a almost 2.5 minute shift.
Quinn Hughes can do it. Like, these guys aren't going to be able to do it either. So I think that, yeah, you're right. I mean, they're going to learn. Obviously, you're going to look at tape on that first goal and say, okay, well, you just definitely can't do it. I mean, Jake DeBrusk, obviously a veteran in the room, saying that, we got to keep him short of this and the other. I really like Jake DeBrusk, listening to him speak when he does media. Always been a good talker, always been someone that you can go to in any room and, just kind of talk to him really about anything. But I like when he said that, you get judged on your points. We didn't win the game. He thought that he played okay, but it's all in his head. And that's something that, he needs to do, and obviously taking accountability for the way that he's been playing. Don't get that a lot, accountability and things like that. So just nice to hear from him.
For certain. And the other thing that we haven't talked about, and here we've been doing this for better part of half an hour now, what I thought for sure was going to be the turning point in this hockey game was the 2-0 at one end, the 2-0 goal at the other.
Yeah.
And Kiefer Sherwood and Drew O'Connor. O'Connor, like, I get it, 2-0. You think, hey, I'm going to pass the puck here, and, if you score, it looks great. But I almost think Drew O'Connor would have been better just to take the puck on a breakaway and take his chances. I get that the team's leading goal scorer is right there with him. And Shane Wright was hustling on the back check to apply a little bit of pressure, but still, 2-0.
Didn't get a shot.
1-0 game, like what might have been, and then
shorthanded.
Yeah, and then to have the Kraken turn the puck up ice and execute a beautiful. Like their first power play was terrible. Their second one hadn't done a lot. Then gives up the opportunity, but they meant business as they came across the blue line, and Everly sets up Chandler Stevenson, and he pulled the trigger. And at 2-0, it got awfully quiet at Rogers Arena, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a crazy turn of events there midway through that second period.
Yeah, no, and I think that obviously could have completely turned the game around if you do score that goal. But yeah, too much thinking. And I think that Drew O'Connor, I mean, the guy's scoring goals this season himself. He doesn't need to worry about passing to Kiefer Sherwood.
Well, so I was a little surprised at that. Whatever the case, then the Canucks get a power play, and Kiefer Sherwood able to grab a rebound off the left side, tucks it in past Joey Decord, and so that got the Canucks back within one. It gave the building a little bit of life, but wasn't that much longer. And then Ben Myers, our second star here on Rink Wide, just drives to the net. A little confusion. Vander Kane was the first forward back, but he leaves the middle of the ice, and Sasson is a step slow on the back check, and there's Myers goes to the net, and Ryan Winterton makes a nice pass. We talked about Brock Besser making a nice pass, and he did that a minute later, but Winterton onto the stick of Ben Myers, and he cashed in, and I thought, again, that feels like a backbreaker late in the second period, now 3-1, is this going to be too much of a deficit for the Canucks to overcome? But the DeBrusk goal with 38 seconds left in that second period, I think gave them a lift going to the locker room feeling, okay, now it's a one-goal game. The comeback is possible, and sure enough, we saw that with Carlson scoring.
We didn't talk about two Olympians, Kevin Lankinen and Elias Pettersson. Kevin Lankinen obviously didn't play. Will maybe play for Finland. Elias Pettersson, I've done a few of these shows now in the better part of a week. I haven't really talked about him too much. What have you seen, and what haven't you seen from his game lately?
Well, like Brock Besser, he has one shot on goal.
Yeah.
Again, with a power play in overtime, and he finishes the night with one shot on just 2 attempts. So a little surprised at that. Now, he does get the second assist on the DeBrusk goal, so he's on the score sheet, but you want to see more, obviously. And, yeah, I mean, held his own in the faceoff circle, won 8 of his 13 draws. That part's good, but just in terms of overall impact, and I know the Kraken aren't giving up much. They're playing pretty stingy hockey right now, but still, this is the closest thing the Canucks have to a game breaker, and he certainly didn't look the part in this hockey game. So, missed opportunity for him, and missed opportunity ultimately for the Canucks falling in a shootout. We had a chance to talk to him after morning skate about being an Olympian, and kind of thought that maybe he would lighten up just a little bit. We talk about sort of this lack of joy around Elias Pettersson all season. Nobody wanted to talk to him about tonight's game. It was about, hey, you're an Olympian, feather in your cap. And I guess I always thought he was going to make this team. I think there were some that wondered if he was going to make the club. I don't know what his role is going to be, but he's on Team Sweden. He's going to the Olympics, and I wanted to see him sort of express a little bit of excitement about it, and seemed to be downplaying that as well earlier today.
Yeah, I think if William Karlsson was healthy, there would be conversations.
Yeah,
I really do. But he's on the team. He's an Olympian. He is going to represent his country, so obviously going to be pretty excited about that. Maybe not to the media, hopefully to everyone else, and good for him.
Yeah, had the second shootout opportunity, wasn't able to convert. None of the Canucks were. DeBrusk, EP40, and then Liam Ogren, as we said, went to the deke, similar one that he used to score in Boston. Didn't happen for him. It was Freddie Goodrow and Capo Caco were the first two Seattle shooters, and then Matty Beniers again. I mean, that was a silly move on Thatcher Demko. I don't think
nobody's stopping
Lankinen
that.
wasn't stopping that. Demko and Lankinen together in the net. I'm not sure we're going to stop that thing. These are the best players in the world, and it's moments like that when you just see the skill on the stick of a player like Matty Beniers. So the Canucks end up losing 4-3 in a shootout. As we mentioned, it was the first shootout loss, so 4-1 still in skills competitions on the season. The one guy that we really haven't talked about is Thatcher Demko, who that's now winless in 4 for him. After the 3-game win streak through New York, his last win came against the Islanders. He has not won since, and I look at the goals that were scored. The Fleury one, long shot, but it's through traffic. His own guys defending or screening. I don't think there was a whole lot he was going to do off the rush on the power play, the Stevenson goal. And then I'm not sure that I hold him at fault with Myers on the doorstep. That had to be better defending in front of him. But the end of the day, 3 get past him, and he's not delivering victories. And so he's going to sit and watch. Kevin Lankinen was... it was funny, at morning skate this morning, I can't recall seeing this. The Canucks are wearing the black skate tomorrow against the Bruins. So the Canucks, everybody on the team was out in blue, and there was Lankinen getting the black skate gear.
Pads ready.
Yeah, and so, with an idea that he's going to get the start tomorrow night. So I expect that we will see Kevin Lankinen, and not because Thatcher Demko didn't perform. It's back-to-back, so obviously they're going to split those. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people that thought Thatcher Demko was going to prevent the tank, right? That he looked the part as he rattled off those 3 straight wins in New York City, but 4 straight now without a victory for him.
And there are a lot of games coming up in a very short period of time for this Vancouver Canuck team, so it's not just going to be back-to-backs where they split the goaltending here. I think there's going to be nights where you think it's going to be Demko and they're going to have to play Kevin Lankinen. And if Demko is not on his game, you mentioned the winless in 3, there's been times where he hasn't looked Thatcher Demko-like. They're going to have to make a decision here on his workload. And I know you and I have talked about it and kind of what the plan is and who the goalie would be. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they do down the stretch here.
I would love to know what went into the decision. And not that I'm faulting Adam Foote for going with Demko in this one, but Kevin Lankinen was terrific in the shootout in Boston, got a win against the Bruins. He was really good. And in the shootout the other night in Seattle as well, he had just defeated the Kraken. I kind of thought that they might come back with Lankinen and save Demko for
Saturday night.
Boston, Saturday night. Went to Boston College, all that kind of stuff. They elected to come with Demko, and that's fine. And he was okay in this hockey game. I think both goaltenders were all right. But I was just personally, I was a little surprised. I just thought, hey, Lankinen maybe in the head to the Kraken with the shootout and all that kind of stuff, and was good in that third period the other night. But they elected to throw Demko and throw a different look at the Kraken. So Kevin Lankinen will get the call on Saturday against the Boston Bruins. All right, we're going to hear from Adam Foote momentarily. Before we do that, though, we talked about people out front of our studio here. How about a shout to Caleb at Stickskate Orca on X? Posted himself a little selfie there. We're in the background.
Yeah, I saw
it's
that.
an action photo.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. So, hey, Caleb, appreciate it. Thanks for the love on social, and hopefully you're watching the live stream as well here at the Wall Center. All right, Adam Foote, curious to hear his thoughts as his team comes up a goal short in the shootout, falling 4-3 to the Kraken, splitting the games with Seattle this week. And as we said, 2 down, 2 more to come in the season series. So here's Adam Foote after the loss, another loss on home ice.
Well, Adam, not the result you wanted tonight, but what about your group's resilience to battle back and force the game to overtime?
Yeah, good resilience. I mean, we started to pick it up in the second period, and then you guys saw the beginning of the third. It seemed like we were rolling, and we had some good things happen. But, it's tough when you get down 3-1, but we fought back, and it would have been nice to get one in the 4-on-3.
You didn't get the power play goal in overtime, but scored 2 during the game. What did you like about what you saw from the power play tonight?
They were moving it quicker. They weren't holding on to it as long. I thought in the 4-on-3 we were moving a little bit slower, but we did have a couple good looks. But that's the thing we've got to get better at, and you don't get chances like that too often. We got to capitalize on that.
Linus, gets the contract, gets the big goal. Like, to see where he's come from. I mean, you've been here for basically the whole time he's been with this organization. What have you seen that has made him so successful and turned him into a quality NHLer?
Well, he works hard. He's coachable. He does all the little things as far as holding on the pucks in hard areas on the wall. His wall works good, which gives him, he's not afraid to play dots to boards or in front of the net, as you see. He uses his body well, and he's picked up. I'd be honest with you, in the summer I wasn't sure if his foot speed would be there in September, and he's worked on it. And I think, we practice more of the full length of the ice with a lot of rush drills and to get the guys to play with faster pace. And I think he's done well picking it up. But, he's a young guy. He does a lot of great things and got some skill. And he'll keep getting better at his decisions with the puck. And, he's doing a good job.
And on Jake's, first of all, he gets the goal, a bit of a slump buster there. I mean, must have been happy about that. And secondly, were you worried they were going to call it back given it hit his foot?
No, I wasn't worried on that one. When we saw it live, I thought we had to look down there. I thought I wasn't too worried about that. I mean, you never know, but I felt pretty good. And, Jake, he hit the crossbar last game. He's been all around the net, and he almost had the one in OT. He's been hunting pucks and good on the forecheck this last couple games.
Building off of that, have you seen the response from Jake that you wanted after he was at the healthy scratch against Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, Jake's a goal scorer, and he gets real streaky. Like last year, I don't think he scored in the first 10 games, and then he went off. I mean, that's the way he is, and we try to, there's lots of guys that are streaky, but to stay consistent, he wants to score. He wants to help his team out. He feels down on himself when he doesn't, and sometimes I hate using the term, you guess maybe, or you play for hoping a bounce goes your way and you can get the edge or get a step on a guy. And when he plays just the right way, he's going to get his chances with his speed and the guys around him. So I like the way he was playing more in structure, and he still was able to create.
All right, there you go, Adam Foote. Some thoughts on this loss to the Kraken. Interesting to hear him talk about Linus Carlson questioning whether the foot speed was going to hold him back, but again, talked about the hard work that this guy has put in to make himself a National Hockey Leaguer and now a double-digit National Hockey League goal scorer with a contract in his back pocket.
One of his better offensive guys lately is Linus Carlson, so good for him for making the jump, obviously, sticking to it, and being a key contributor every single night.
Art on Instagram says, what do you think would be the lineup changes for tomorrow's game? At least one forward and D who's in and out. Again, Archie Baines is the only healthy forward that they've got here. I don't see them plugging him in.
No.
Unless somebody didn't get through this game that we don't know about. But just looking at ice times and what have you, I know it's back-to-back and sure a fresh set of legs, but if I'm making the call, sorry, Archdeep, you're back in the NHL, you're collecting the NHL pay, but you're an extra body. Defensively, I do wonder. I mean, that's 2 games for P.O. Joseph, 2 in a row now, and DPD has sat down. Adam Foote talked about it this morning, that compressed schedule, and, I think we talked about the sloppy line change the other night in Seattle. I don't know if that was enough to bring him out of the lineup, but I think it sort of played into he just hasn't been as good, I don't think, this year as he was last year.
Yep.
But he is probably their 5th or 6th best defenseman. I certainly, in my mind, he's ahead of P.O. Joseph. That doesn't mean that a young player has to play every single night in this compressed schedule, but I will be curious. I would put Boston got some big bodies, can be a physical team. I would think after 2 healthy scratches that DPD is probably raring to go. I'd get him back in line. So to me, Lankinen and then DPD, those are probably the lineup changes I anticipate.
Yeah, I've said this before and time again. P.O. Joseph, it doesn't really do it for me. I know a lot of fans probably feel the same. I think that DPD should be playing. I think that's how you develop your young players and want them to get better each and every night. Maybe, look at Tom Willander. The guy's played a lot lately over the last little while, and, he hasn't obviously taken a seat or anything like that. So I think that DPD probably gets back in, but you never know, so we'll see.
It was interesting, too, that as this game unfolded, Willander and Bouillon ended up playing together, and Tyler Myers dropped down to the third pairing with P.O. Joseph. So, if DPD gets back in there, is it DPD and Tyler Myers, and is that your third pairing? And are we watching now, the emergence of Bouillon and Willander getting second pair minutes? Again, I thought Hronek was good. I thought Marcus Pettersson was good. Those two together as a top pair for the Vancouver Canucks. Bigger challenge coming up against Boston just in terms of the Bruins' ability to score, where Seattle doesn't have a ton of gunners. You've got one of the leading goal scorers in the National Hockey League in Morgan Geekie, and you've got David Pastrnak, who on any night can
go
light
off.
up. Yeah, exactly. So that'll be the challenge, but the Canucks have last change. They can work the matchups as best they can to get the deployment of the players that they want out there. Tomorrow will be the midway mark of the season for the Vancouver Canucks. So, again, we'll do some mid-season programming on Rink Wide after the Canucks in Boston. Producer Jacobs suggesting as well that I put out a call for Rink Wide Worldwide, and we always want to know where people are checking us out from around this planet as we ring in the new year. We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line in the live chat, any of our socials. Let us know where you are, where you consume Rink Wide. Do you watch the live stream? Do you listen to it as a podcast after the fact? Whatever. We'd love to hear from you. So if you take a moment and drop us a note in the live chat, we'll compile a little list and let people know on the program tomorrow. Rink Wide Worldwide. We did that during the playoff run.
Yes, it was great.
A lifetime ago.
It really does.
And maybe someday there will be another one here in the city of Vancouver. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials as well, particularly subscribe to the Rink Wide YouTube channel. And Rink Wide's always been your go-to post-game live streaming podcast, but this year we've branched out, posting more from practice. And again, with those 8-game homestands, there's going to be a bunch of practices. They're going to be around town a fair bit from the middle of January up until the Olympic break. And we'll continue to post videos and player scrums from practice and game day skates. So subscribe, set your notifications, and you will not miss a thing. There was indoor-outdoor hockey around the National Hockey League. Somebody forgot to tell the Florida Panthers. They showed up. Inexpensive-looking vehicles.
Yeah, but they looked pretty cheap on the ice. They weren't good at all.
No, they were not.
And the Rangers aren't very good.
They were not sports cars on the ice. No, the Winter Classic in Miami. Yeah, Winter Classic in Miami. Rangers 5-1. They were all over the Florida Panthers. And Quinn Hughes doing Quinn Hughes things as well tonight. 4 assists in Minnesota's 5-2 win at Anaheim. I saw this. The National Hockey League put out the fact that Quinn becomes the first player in history. League's been around a while. First player in history to record 4 assist games with 2 separate franchises in the same season. He had 4 helpers for the Canucks against Tampa in the middle of November, and he had 4 helpers. He was in on 4 of the 5 mini goals tonight in Anaheim. So
was it player or defenseman?
I think I read player.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, franchise players don't really get traded too much.
No, but there have been some good players that have
100%.
changed teams mid-season. And so Quinn doing something that nobody else has ever done. Which leads us to the out-of-town scoreboard now. It's Saturday. It's a busy Saturday around the National Hockey League. So it's time for our Bet365 line of the night.
Starting bright and early, 9 a.m., Jeff. We're getting after it nice and early here on our Bet365. The Detroit Red Wings are taking the Pittsburgh Penguins on at home. I like the Detroit on the money line. I like the Devils over the Mammoth. The Toronto Maple Leafs against the New York Islanders without Bo Horvat. Going to be reevaluated in a week. Hope everything's okay for Bo, obviously. Named to the Canadian Olympic team. And I'm taking the Bruins over the Vancouver Canucks. 4-game parlay. Couple of favorites there. Bigger favorites. Pretty good odds there on Bet365. Whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get it on the game, use code NATION. Bet365 must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the Bruins look like. They looked really good in Edmonton the other night. Pastrnak had 2 goals and an assist, so he was in on half of the goals. 6-2 win over the Oilers. Pastrnak now leads Boston in scoring, but as we mentioned, Morgan Geekie, 25 goals on the year, but he hasn't scored since he's opened the scoring against the Canucks. Remember the one-timer on the power play in Boston on December 20th. So he's gone a season-high 5. Is he overdue? Well, we'll find out on Saturday night. Always dangerous. Bruins are 21-18-2 because Rogers Arena was hosting a game and the Canucks had a morning skate and the Kraken had ice. No room for the Bruins. They had to practice out at UBC on Friday.
It's a long bus ride out there.
Well, they'll survive. They'll be ready to go. They haven't played since Wednesday night. And, of course, it's back-to-back for the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see what the Canucks have left in the tank, and we'll see if the Bruins can pick up where they left off in Edmonton, or the win in Edmonton snapped a 6-game winless streak for Boston. So part of that was the Canucks beating them in the shootout in Beantown just before Christmas. And we'll see what Saturday night brings. And, of course, we'll be back to do it. And it'll take the Canucks up to the midway mark in their season. Will they have a 5th home ice win by the time we do this again?
Well, I just took the Bruins, I probably think
you answered that. All right. Well, that's one of the storylines. Obviously, we will be continuing to monitor as the Canucks had their chances, but come up short in the shootout, falling 4-3 to the Seattle Kraken. All right. That is going to do it for this episode of Rink Wide. What will Jake DeBrusk do for an encore? We talked about him being streaky for his sake and the hockey club. It would be nice to see him getting on a roll, and maybe he can bring a few of his veteran teammates along for the ride. So there you go. That's going to do it. Jacob Lazar behind the scenes helping out as our technical producer. For Irf, I'm Jeff. Again, Happy New Year. Let us know where you're watching and listening to Rink Wide, and we'll do a Rink Wide Worldwide after the Canucks take on the Boston Bruins on Saturday. That'll be our next episode of Rink Wide Vancouver.